What would happen to your brain if you consumed zero content for a week? I don't know. To be honest, I really don't know. I gave it a go and I tried. On my Discord server, I've made a list of things that we could do, challenges. And the one I was picked the most was to do for a week. Zero content consumption, social media, gaming, and all that stuff. But when push came to shove, I failed. On the surface, it would look quite easy, for a week, that's it. Easy, keep yourself busy doing other things, go out, and you'll be fine. And that was the original plan. A friend had to come around, so for half of the week that he was going to be in my house, I was going to be away from all of those things. And I hardly even touched my phone. I turned it on like 3 times per day. So whilst he was still here, things were going fine. We would play games that I have around the house. We'd go outside, play some volleyball. We'd do different trips, different walks, and we'd talk to each other, right? We're humans, we can just interact. But what happened after he left? After he left, I found myself laying around, not knowing what to do after being so heavily immersed into so many different activities for far too long. I'm sure you've had a problem where you try to sit still, wait in the queue of the line, commute from A to B, and you can't simply do the activity, even when you're working out. You're listening to music or you're checking your phone as you wait. You can't maintain eye contact with somebody, you look at them, you're like, oh, let me check the weather really quickly. Right, we have a big impulse on getting the phone, checking. But the issue was that this was in some sort like No Not November. I'm sure a lot of us are familiar with it. It's when for a whole month you don't masturbate. Now, while this kind of challenge is no longer a problem for me, I remember when I was trying to do it, I tried year after year, and I think I failed it 5 times until I finally got it last year, but I wasn't really trying. Because there's something that happens in our subconsciousness when we have a goal or a fracture of time in which we can not do something. No matter what, we can't do it. With 9 on November, it was masturbation, or, well, some people say you could, but ejaculation, you couldn't ejaculate. And the simple fact of, it was forbidding and I couldn't do it, put so much more pressure and so much more thought went into it that I would struggle. And it was always, let's see, I can't do it no matter what, and I'd feel all that stress, and I'd keep it in mind. And because I kept it in mind so much, a lot of my attention, of course, went towards that. And I was always just, I can't do it, but I want to. And then eventually I would do it, and I'd fail. Now, of course, we can't say no to ourselves, but we are kind of weak humans. And this approach of, I can't do it no matter what, is more distressful than actually fruitful. So going back to topic, I tried to do no content consumption, no nothing for a week. The first 4 days, everything went fine. Bless me. And the next 2 days, what happened was my friend had left. I was alone in my room. I was meant to go out, I went out to play some volleyball after he left. And the group of people that we met, we were meant to go to Benidorm to party a little bit and stuff. I don't normally go out to party, but I was excited, and as if it was a sign of God, I just was ill. I was in bed and I felt like I had fever, so I said, I'm not going, no need to push it. So there I was in bed, on the WhatsApp group chat, reading, who's picking up who, how we're getting there, etc. And I was alone and I was bored. I had things that I could do, right? If you have things that you want to study for, to work for, projects, you can always work on them. Passions, right? I could have played the piano. There's a million things that I could have been doing. But I felt weak and I felt vulnerable in that moment. It does not excuse it, but it's to point it out. When you are trying to do something that requires willpower, such as saying no to yourself, in your weak times it's going to be a lot harder. Again, I'm not excusing myself. I'm actually quite disappointed and aggravated with myself. Because as I saw that they were all getting ready to go out and I was quite excited, I don't do this very often. I don't allow it for myself because I don't believe it's good to do with regularity. There I was in bed alone and I decided to go and watch some videos, some low Tyler 1, to relieve some of the pain that I felt. I stayed in bed and instead of reading, I played some phone games, which You know, if I wanted to play them, I could have just waited until next week. Things were going wrong. I went to bed very late. I would have gone to bed even later if I went to Benidorm. Instead of being out, you know, celebrating something with other people, dancing and stuff, I was alone in my room, in my bed, on my phone, watching videos and playing games. Feeling vulnerable and now being miserable. The next day, I got up later and I was like, okay, I need to do some work. I did a little bit. I put myself further ahead the week before because I knew my friend was coming and I wanted to spend more time with him. So I didn't need to do much. I didn't need to do much at all. But I did even less than that. And I did very, very little work. There's some things that I wanted to start and I didn't. My frustration just grew bigger and bigger. And I kept failing myself. And then again, getting up later and then doing some work, I was like, I'll consume a little bit. And I failed myself again. Until the next day, I was like, I locked my phone away and I was like, okay, it's the last day of the challenge. Let's fucking do things right. You know, I proposed this challenge and here I am, the one failing. So yeah, on the last day, we got back in business, but I failed myself for 2 days. So what is the point of this video? To just shame myself and ridicule myself for my flaws and how bad I am? No, it's to bring attention to something that I was enlightened with the very, very important ability of saying no to yourself, which is something that you need to. Saying no to bad people that come into your life, saying no to addictions, saying no to bad habits, saying no to your vices, right? I realized that when we are in vulnerable times, we give in. It is harder. We do the thing that is most comfortable in the very same moment, but much, much less fulfilling. I did things which, of course, were pleasing in the moment, right? You play a little gacha game on your phone or whatever, you see the immediate progress as you're grinding through XP or whatever. Same with videos, you start laughing because you're watching something that you enjoy. Maybe the same with a video like this, right? I mean, it's not as enjoyable as somebody playing a video game, but maybe you learn something, it's nice. But there I was in bed just doing nothing, and I realized part of the reason was my own vulnerability in the moment. And to avoid these things, we need to avoid stepping into that mediocre phase as much as possible. Yes, I did feel ill. Yes, I cancelled my plans to go out and whatever. But if I had immediately, as soon as my friend had left, occupied myself with things that I needed to do, I would have started off better, started off more fresh, or resumed, not started. So as a little call to action, if you have things that you want to do, just do them. Do them right away. I used to be one of those at school that would do the homework at the last moment. As school finally ended and stuff, I flipped the switch and I did it right away as soon as I got it. And it's much, much more fulfilling to live a life like that. Much more satisfying to realize that you have so much time ahead. I did that before my friend came. I put myself a whole week ahead. I was working like a maniac. And then that whole week that I put myself ahead, I wasted it by doing nothing. So, yeah. Strive to be 1% better every day. Join the Discord and much love. Quick reminder to fix your posture and take deep breaths into your diaphragm from your nose.